Hey, did you know that you're a coach? Yes, you. Now, yes, I'm talking to you. If you're watching this video right now, don't don't tune away. Listen in. You are actually a coach. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily professionally what you do with your profession, but you are a coach. Absolutely. And if you don't know that, there is no way you can really maximize your life if you don't know that yes, you are a coach. Now, let me explain that. Okay, for me personally, my profession is a coach. I do that professionally. I am a life coach. I love it. It's an absolute amazing thing. Almost too, it just seems too good to be true. Just it's a passion that I have. But what is a coach, right? So I just help people discover how to be the coach of their own life. But you need to know what a coach actually is. The word actually means something. Now, the word coach originates before there was modern transportation. And when people would travel either by foot or, horseback or animal would get you from point A to point B. So going on trips or going on a journey could be it wasn't the easiest thing to do. It could be really arduous. So if you had some means, if you lived before modern transportation and you needed to go on a journey, you would hire a coach. And a coach was simply a person that would help you get from point A to point B, wherever you're trying to go in life or on a journey specifically. Now, eventually it became synonymous with other modes of transportation. You would travel coach and, sometimes even in this very day, a bus is sometimes called a coach. They call buses coaches because it's a coach. It gets you from point A to point B. It's also become synonymous with athletics, right? But it's the same idea. A coach just helps that athlete, maximize what they already have, the skills that they have to go from one point in life until another, one place in their career to another. Okay, but it's the same idea. It's the same idea. And you are a coach. It's really important you understand that because you are actually driving your life forward. We all are. The problem is, and this is what's crazy, most people are driving and have no idea where they're going. And not only do they not know where they're going, they don't even know how to drive the car that they're sitting behind the wheel of. Now, this is a metaphor, obviously, but we are, like, most people are not driving their car. The car is driving them. Mainly, this thing called the body and the mind. Most people are being driven compulsively by their mind. They're being driven compulsively by their bodies, their desires, or I should say lusts, their biological instincts, their programming is driving them. They're not in control. They are being driven. They may think they're in control, but most people I know are not actually in control. They are not driving their life. They are being driven by their compulsive tendencies. Okay? If you want to be the coach of your life, if you want to get your essence from one point to another, all of us are on a journey. If you want to drive your life where you want to go, then you got to learn to take control of this thing called the body and the mind and even the energy system that you possess. Okay? Super important. Now, I want to share an example, but I'm hesitant to share the example with you, okay? Because some of you may not connect with this. But nevertheless, no matter what your interests are, I want to share an example. And I want you to stay with me on this because it's a very powerful example. It's actually a true story. It comes from something that recently happened. Now, I want you to imagine yourself being a coach, right? So go with me here. Imagine yourself being a coach. And you're a coach of a football team. I know you may not be a football fan. It's okay. Bear with me. I think you'll be able to follow along with this. Imagine yourself being the coach of a football team. And you are on the sidelines in a game. And it's a very important game. As a matter of fact, it's the most important game of the season. Everything's on the line. Championships on the line. Everything's on the line. If you lose this game, it's over, right? Season's over. If you win the game, you move on to the championship, right? So it's a very important game. You're on the sidelines. The game is pretty even, pretty much tied, or just a very one-score game. It's a very close game. Now, in the game of football, and again, this isn't about football, so bear with me here, but in the game of football, you get 4 tries to get 10 yards, right? So to get 100 yards is, you score a touchdown you get in the end zone, but you get 4 tries to get 10 yards. If you get 10 yards in 4 tries, they give you what is called a fresh set of downs, or you get a first down, and then you have 4 more tries to get 10 more yards. And if you get 10 yards, you'll get another 4 downs. And so you keep getting 4 tries. But there's only 4, you only get 4 downs at a time. First down, second down, third down, and fourth down. And imagine this. You have had the ball. You've had first down, second down, third down, and now you're at fourth down. You've almost got the 10 yards. It's 4th in inches. You're right there. You're just like inches away from the first down. What do? Well, you have an option. You could punt the ball. That means you don't want to take a risk, because if you don't get that first down, you hand the ball back to the other team wherever you are on that field. So if it's 4th and inches, right, you could either go for it and try to pick up those few inches to get the first down, to get a fresh set of downs, or you could kick the ball, you could punt it to the other team. What do? That's my question for you. You're the coach. You're in a very important game. The game is tied up, or it's very tight, it's very close. You're midfield even. So now people say, well, where am I out in the field? You're in the middle of the field, so you're about the 50-yard line. It's 4th and inches. Do you kick the ball, punt it away to give the other team the ball back in, way back in their own side of the field? Or do you try to pick up the few inches and get the first down? What do? Right? That's the decision a coach makes. Well, this scenario actually happened about a week ago. And there is such a powerful example to me, and I want to tie it into your life and to my life. It does apply. I was watching a game last week, one of the most important games of the season for me. See, I'm a fan. I am a massive fan. Anybody who knows me knows this. I'm a massive fan. Fan, by the way, is short for fanatic. That's where the word fan comes from, in case you didn't know. Thank you very much. So that's free. But fan, if you're a fan, that means you're really a fanatic, right? So I'm a fanatic for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. It's in the blood. I'm a Buckeye fan, just the way it is, okay? Can't help it. Now, I can't help it, but I choose to be a Buckeye fan, right? So it's in the blood. I choose to participate with this. The biggest game all year for us Buckeye fans, Ohio State fans, is that team up north, which is sometimes referred to as the University of Michigan, or the Michigan Wolverines, okay? That is our rival. We despise that team. We want to beat them every year, right? So and it's the last game of the season. It's the most important game of the season. So last week was that game, right? The Ohio State Buckeyes faced off against the University of Michigan in their own stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in their house, right? And they played this game, and it was a tight game. And Ohio State had the ball, right? It was first down, second down, third down. They got to fourth down. It was 4th in inches. At almost midfield. I don't know exactly what the yard line was, but it was pretty close to midfield. What do? Well, the coach for the Ohio State University, this guy named Ryan Day, he decided to punt the ball to play it safe. He punted the ball to give the ball. So because he didn't want to, if he didn't pick it up, Michigan would get the ball. They'd have good field position. The punter was not about the best punter. He punted, and it wasn't the best punt, and Michigan ended up getting the ball back at good field position. And I think they might have drove down the field and scored, but I'm not really sure. But that's not that important. But Ohio State chose not to go for it on 4th and inches. They decided to give the ball back to Michigan. Okay, they punted away. Is that a wrong call? Is that the right call? Well, I don't look at it as being right or wrong. Some people will criticize it, but there's a reason I'm bringing it up, and we'll talk about it here in a second. I'm just letting you know that's what they did. That coach decided to punt the ball when it was 4th and inches instead of going for it. Now, later in the game, later in that half, it was 4th and 2, right? Ohio State had the ball again, drove down. They got almost the 10 yards. It was 4th and 2, and this time they weren't on the 50-yard line. They were on the plus side. They were on Michigan's side. They were closer to scoring a touchdown than before, and it was 4th and 2. They just needed 2 yards to pick up the first down, and it was getting close to halftime. So the coach, instead of going for the 2 yards, he decided he was not going to go for the 2. He was going to kick the ball, a field goal, to try to get 3 points. Better to be safe than sorry. So he kicked the field goal. And the punter, or the kicker, he missed it, right? He didn't get it. Okay. Was that the right call? Should they have went for the 2 yards to get the first down? Should he have kicked it? Well, there's no right call. It's not right or wrong. It's just what he did. So after the game, now guess what? Ohio State, they went on to lose that game by 6 points. It was a very close game. They lost it by less than, just about 6 points, a touchdown, right? Minus the field goal, right? Minus the extra point. So it was a very close game. Now, Michigan also had the ball, and there was several times, 2 or 3 times during that game, that Michigan had it. It was 4th down in inches or 4th down in a yard. They didn't punt. They didn't kick it for a field goal. They went for it every single time, and I think they picked up the 4th down, converted it to a 1st down every single time, and they actually went on to win the game. Now that's interesting. Now we can look back. It's always easy to second guess. Hindsight's always 20/20. But I was fascinated to hear the reasoning. I wanted to hear the reasoning from the head coach of Ohio State as to why he decided to kick the ball, to punt the ball when it was 4th and inches instead of going for it. I wanted to hear why he wanted to kick the field goal instead of trying to go for the 2 yards to pick up the 4th and 2 to pick up the 1st down, right? And here's what he said both times. I thought it was fascinating. He said, well, when it was 4th and inches, I didn't want to try to go for it and get stopped and then give the ball back to Michigan in good field position for them. And then when it was 4th and 2, and instead of like going for the two yards, he kicked the field goal. He's like, well, it was getting close to halftime. I didn't want to come away with no points. Can you hear the reasoning there? There was fear. He was afraid of getting stopped on 4th and inches and not converting and giving the ball back to Michigan. And he was also, in the next 4th down, he was afraid of not getting any points coming out of halftime or going into halftime with 0 points. So he wanted to try to get the 3 points instead of going for 4th and 2, going for the 2 yards and picking up the 1st down, because if he got stopped, he would have gotten no points. Guess what happened? That's right. The very thing he was afraid of happened. Because they didn't go for it, they got stopped. They actually punted the ball, and Michigan got it back in good field position. And the second situation where he was afraid of not going into halftime with no points, and instead of going for the 2 yards for the 1st down, he kicked the ball. It was like long distance, and they missed the field goal. So the both things that he was afraid of happened. And yet Michigan, in the same situation, they played like they had nothing to lose. Ohio State played because they were afraid to lose. They were afraid of getting stopped, afraid of coming away with no points. And the point of this, and the reason I'm bringing this up, is because it's not a right or wrong call. Now, if the coach would have said, I was excited to see what our defense could do, so I punted the ball. Or, hey, I was excited to see what our kicker could do. If he could pick up the field goal, that's why instead of going for the 1st down, I had him kick the field goal. Like, that would have been a very different energy and mindset, because there was a sense of excitement. There was a sense of, hey, let's see what we can do, versus I'm afraid of coming away with no points, or I'm afraid of not picking up the 1st down and giving the ball back to them in midfield. Right? See, when fear makes your decisions for you, you always lose in the long run. You always lose in the long run. See, you are playing the game of life. It is a game, but it's a very important game. And if you're making your decisions because of what you're afraid to do, there's some of you watching this, there are decisions you need to make. Some of you need to leave the job you're in. Some of you need to decide to be all in at your job. You need to make a decision. Be all in, get out. Some of you need to be all in your relationship. Jump in both feet. Some of you need to get out. I don't know what the right decision is or the wrong decision is for you. Some of you need to commit to coaching. Some of you need to commit to investing into yourself. You need to be fully in or you need to be fully out. But you need to make a decision. And you can't make that decision if you're afraid of loss. I want to give you some good news. You have no fear. You have only everything to gain. You're being guided. All the resources you need for you to live the life you're here to live are here. It is here for you. Now, we don't know the outcome, but you will learn from it, whatever it is. You have only everything to gain. So I want you this next year, as you're thinking about wrapping up this year and moving into a new year, I want you to think about being the coach of your life. It's 4th down in inches. This could be 4th down. This is maybe the only chance you get. What do? Go for it. You have nothing to lose.